We're back on Southeast Texas Weekly. So when we talk about this idea of Americans very concerned about whether they still with their business oriented insurance plans, most Americans get their insurance through their insurance plans.
I mean through the company where they work.
Yeah. That's right. And they have fears that they're going to lose their insurance in that way. They have concerns that their premiums are going to go up as opposed to down. And we see Americans telling their representatives in this district, oh, by the way, it actually does happen. And I want to put forth the notion here that defunding Obamacare, even at this 11th hour, would be something that the American people would respond positively to, especially in the context of, oh, by the way, let's keep the government going. Why am I wrong?
Because, first of all, shutting down the government is political suicide, and the Republican Party does it at their peril. In the decade before Obamacare passed, employers had increasingly cut back on the amount and the quality of the insurance they provided to their employees. They've been charging them for it, increasing amounts. So the old days when the company gave you insurance as a benefit of your employment is long gone. That was a reality long before Barack Obama was elected president.
Well,
I think we've been subjected to a massive PR campaign funded to a lavish extent by the Koch brothers and everybody else about this Affordable Care Act. I think when it goes into effect, which is why they're trying desperately to stop it before October, people are going to see the program for what it is.
And like it, you believe?
I think like it better than what they had before. And when they realize they've been getting less coverage for more money before this, I think we'll see.
The problem is you could have solved that utilizing physicians, the insurance companies, and sit down and say, what can we do to provide a service that does give you, you can transfer from one state to another. That if I don't want to pay for some transgender operation, I don't have to. If I don't want to pay for a certain procedure, I don't have to. I can buy what I want. It's not universal from the standpoint of you're paying for all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now here's what Obamacare also does. 3.5% when you sell property. People don't like that because they don't even know. It's like Nancy Pelosi said, we'll find out what's in the bill when we vote for it. Baloney. But what they found out is that there are ways to solve this issue through the free market at a lot less. I mean, look what we've got right here. The government didn't invent this. You can pick one of these up anywhere. This does more stuff than a $75 calculator did when I was in college.
That's right.
And your point?
My point is the government didn't do it. If the government had done it, it cost me $7,500.
Let me move to guns.
I couldn't afford it.
Free enterprise.
Go
Let
get
me
a
move to guns.
$14 aspirin at the hospital.
Michael Lindsay, we saw a terrible tragedy, 12 people killed at the Washington Navy Yard by a man who was able to get a gun into this military installation and kill a lot of people. There have been renewed calls on the left for gun controls that would be sensible, that would be reasonable, that the background check system would be modified in some ways. Is this, in fact, this Washington Navy Yard shooting, the tilting point in this long-lasting debate?
Absolutely not. I mean, if Sandy Hook's not the tilting point, we're never going to see
nothing
one.
is?
So we all need to get used to it. And if, in my cynicism, I would say that if you can be a shooter in a naval yard that's heavily armed with all kinds of military people, how in the world are we going to keep our kids safe in their schools?
This man evidently was a user of a lot of violent video games. Do we care about the violent video games, or is it just the guns that we want to work on?
He had a
WLP, there was no AR-15 involved,
right,
for example.
He had a psychiatric problem. One of the things that's fascinating about when you look at this is between 1990 and today, homicides have dropped down dramatically. However, mass killings have gone up because since that point in time, I take that back 1970, because rather than stigmatize people who have a mental issue, and I'm on the mental health board, I've been fortunate enough to serve, rather than institutionalizing people that should not be on the street, we put them out there, which is why we have more homeless out there. They have mental issues. And if they've got mental issues and can get a hold of a gun, it happens at Sandy Hook, that guy had a problem. The guy in Aurora, Colorado, the guy in the naval yard. the one common denominator is every single one of them had psychiatric problems, and they were walking the street when their families wanted them institutionalized.
I want to give you the final 30 seconds in a magnanimous show of generosity. Guns.
WL, you're right. When they cut back on the institutionalized mental health people, they were supposed to supplement it with increased community-based services. That never happened. Look, we're not talking about confiscating guns. You keep using gun control. We're talking about minimal things. Background checks. 94% of the American people favor it. The gun industry has blocked it.
That's not further control of guns, though?
No, that would increase at least who we sell them to, and this mental health
That would be
issue
more
is
control.
huge.
Then you're saying your strident calls today on these questions are probably they don't seem to fall into what we think of as the linguistic way of describing things. If you're asking for more restrictions, you're almost necessarily calling for more control.
Closing the gun show loophole, increasing background checks. If you call that control, that's fine. These people think we're going to go confiscate their guns. We're not. We want to keep them out of the hands of the criminals and the mentally deranged. And we have to increase the mental health care. But Mike's right. If 20 dead kids at Sandy Hook isn't enough for these people to wake up,
huh?
But let's
the American
attack the problem,
people are way
which is
ahead.
mental health.
Well,
That's one of the
let's also
problems.
have background. Are you against background checks?
Well, let's talk to a couple of pros on guns.
let's have that.
A couple of experts on guns from the local area when we continue. Stay with us.